Good morning. What's up, sports fans? How's everybody feeling? Happy Monday. I am the sports judge. New York ain't going to sleep peacefully for the next couple of nights. Not after that loss. The city was excited for Knicks basketball. Impressive turnout for Game 7. Celebrities really pulled up to watch the Knicks get slaughtered in the Garden. You can shake your head all you want, cry all you want, but the better team won. It's scary when Tyrese Halliburton is on the floor. Boy, if Tyrese Halliburton wasn't Reggie Miller 2.0, clutch play after clutch play, this was Reggie Miller all over again, folks. It is chilling in the moment. And the craziest part about this for Knicks fans, of all fan bases, they had to relive the terror. It was horrifying. You saw him do his thing in a winner take all. Tyrese Halliburton did his thing because that's the dog in him. He went into the Garden and did absolutely the same thing Reggie did years ago and gave the entire city of New York nightmares. After the game, he shows up to the press conference with an iconic Reggie Miller choke photo on his sweatshirt, on his hoodie. Look, listen, this brother is cold, okay? Ice water in his veins. This brother can flat out play basketball, and that's probably one of the coldest things I've seen him troll them with his sweatshirt. Like, look, he gets the last laugh. The question with the Knicks as this series progressed was, can they withstand the amount of injuries that have piled up? Could they overcome those injuries? We had been talking about how fatigue would eventually catch up to them because the amount of minutes guys were playing, massive loads, more wear and tear on bodies. It had become a major factor for the New York Knicks. And as the series went on, it was a battle of attrition. Like you look at the roster and they were shorthanded with injuries from top to bottom. And you had to face a young and healthier Indiana team. That's tough. That's really tough. Having to come home in front of your fans, just needing one win. Just one win. You know, you come back home, you just needed one win. That had you feeling real good. Okay, great. But you didn't show up. That's the frustrating part. No urgency, no effort. It's as if they forgot that they had an afternoon game at the Garden where their fans were more passionate and ready than them for Game 7. They were more ready. The Knicks just didn't come ready to play. And you're going like, whoa, they just let everybody down with a gut-wrenching loss to a rival team that punked them in their own house. Jalen Brunson was awful in the first half. I mean, he was god-awful in the first half. You could have picked any other day before Sunday to look as bad as you did. Any other day. And you wait till Game 7 to pull a disappearing act. How would you feel if you're a fan? Obviously dejected, right? Maybe disgusted, a little disappointed. They earned the number 2 seed. Bronson was outstanding in the regular season and throughout the playoffs. But after 12 years of disappointment and mediocrity, would you say this season has been successful? You know, would you say this, considering everything this team has gone through, that this was a good year for the Knicks? I know fans don't want to hear it because, and you know, early in this series, the Knicks had a 2-0 commanding lead, only to let it slip away, and the Pacers restored order and got back in the series. You know, you left the door open, gave them a sense of belief and confidence, and in the end, they ended up beating you. They took everything out of you. They drained every ounce of your energy, you know. But one thing I can say is that they fought, kept their season alive until they couldn't stay alive anymore. They gave it their all. You know, they gave everything they had. Injuries, and this was the talking point. Injuries. I worried about injuries with this team. Tired bodies, guys were exhausted, and clearly the fastest, healthiest, and strongest survived the series, and the Pacers were the fastest, the healthiest, and the strongest. Younger group, and because of their efficient shooting in the first half, the Knicks were done. You know, you want to beat the Knicks? Get out and run. Wear them down with your speed and outshoot them. And that's what Indiana did. Indiana made 29 of its 38 shots in the first half, a shooting percentage of 76.3%. That was the highest in the postseason since 1997. I'm not making up weird stuff. History was made, okay? Let me tell you, history was made in this game. They really shot, them boys really shot 76% in the first quarter and led 70-55 at that point and pulled away every time the Knicks tried to make a run in the second half. And they went into the Garden and shot the ball historically good in the first half. The whole team came out and nobody could miss. 70% shooting for the game? It's wild. I'm not making excuses for the Knicks, but the insane amount of injuries sustained this season were a real issue. Could this series had played out differently had they had all their healthy bodies available and good to go? Sure, certainly. But that's the nature of the game. Injuries are part of the game. And in the end, nobody wants to hear it. Well, because the team was depleted, you didn't win. Nobody wants to hear that. No Julius Randle, shoulder injury. No Mitchell Robinson, ankle injury. Josh Hart obviously didn't look anything like his usual self after suffering an abdominal strain. This wasn't him at all. He wasn't 100%. Didn't look like himself at all. They got OG Anunoby back Sunday after he missed the previous 4 games with a strained left hamstring, but he clearly wasn't moving well and was taken out of the game after just 5 minutes. Like I said before, the Pacers were younger, faster, and healthier. And the Knicks were limited and couldn't overcome the losses of Randle, Robinson, before losing Anunoby, and finally Brunson. You know, everybody's bodies gave up on them. So, in reality, Indiana was healthier than the Knicks, but they're not going to win the next series versus Boston. They haven't really faced a full-strength team yet. They will when they finally face Boston. But we can't sit here and ignore the fact that Indiana can flat out play because they can score. No, they're not this juggernaut, but they're not scared of anybody either. And clearly, they're hungry. This Knicks team, with everyone unhealthy, we couldn't really evaluate this team. It's unfortunate we couldn't see them at full strength versus the Pacers to really give an honest assessment. I don't want to discredit the Pacers at all. I look at Indiana's bench, TJ McConnell, a crucial piece off the bench, injected energy into the offense. To be fair, they won the series with grit, guts, and physical play. And to go on the road to MSG and to play that well in Game 7 and to be that young, it's pretty remarkable. It's incredible stuff. It really is. What team has ever shot 65+% from the floor and 55+% from 3 in a Game 7? They shoot lights out and win a high-scoring series. Let's be honest. The Pacers' defense is really bad. Their defense is atrocious. They're not great on the defensive end, but they can score as well as any team in the league, and that's their path to an upset in the next series. Indiana shot 67.1%. in Game 7 against the Knicks, which set a new playoff record for a single game. The Pacers led the league in points scored per game, assists per game, and field goal percentage during the regular season. They've been pretty potent in the playoffs too, scoring a league best 114.2 points per game through 2 rounds. Indiana also leads the postseason in field goal percentage and in 3-point percentage. The Pacers offense isn't heavily reliant on one player either. They got guys that can step up. Siakam, we saw what he did. He leads the way with 21.1 points per game in the playoffs, but Halliburton 18.8 and Turner 17.5. They're all capable of carrying the load as well. Indiana has 7 players averaging 10 plus points per game in the playoffs. Boston has 6. The Celtics are a really good defensive team. They pride themselves on defense. Okay, so now in the regular season, Indiana played Boston pretty even record-wise. They beat them in a game which Halliburton didn't finish, and they bounced them out of the in-season tournament, which is about as close to the playoffs during the regular season as you're going to get. And since then, the Pacers are greatly improved from where they were in the regular season. I think they're better than anyone else expected. If the Pacers are going to win this series, they'll need to push the pace and score 115 plus points per game. It's going to be a challenge, but it's certainly not an impossible mission for this group. Good year for the Knicks. A lot of missed shots, injuries piled up, and New York just didn't get in a good rhythm. They just didn't get into an offensive flow. And Indiana, clearly at the end of it all, Indiana was just the better team. They just outshot them. They just outplayed them. They just were, in the end, the better team. They were hungry. They're young. They got a lot to prove, and they did just that. But now the job is not finished. They got to go up against a very good Boston team, and let's see what happens in this upcoming series, because let me tell you, it's going to be one hell of a series. It won't be a cakewalk like some people are saying. I'm hearing some people say this series is going to end in Game 5, this series is going to be over in 5, this series is going to be a sweep. What? You guys are nuts. This series could possibly go 6 or 7 games. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Boston. Indiana is going to make it tough for them. Indiana is not going to run from the Celtics just because their jerseys are green. They're not going to be scared going up against this team. They have all the confidence in the world right now after this prior series. So they're going in there with their mindset on winning, and they are going to be a tough out against the Boston Celtics. Good luck, Boston. Thanks for watching, everyone. Checking out of here now. I got to get on with my day, but we'll talk soon. I'll be back with another video for you guys. Next up is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The Minnesota Timberwolves dethroned the defending champions yesterday. I'll get into that a little bit later. Till then, I'll see you guys later. Checking out. Thanks for watching.